We are about to start our session. Okay, this is the third and the final session of today's Pro Talks, and the topic of this session is technical management. And we have with us our speaker, Sadiki, Tech Manager, IT, IMSL. And he will be conducting the session. He will first provide the keynote speech, and after that we will have our question and answer session and the panel discussion. In the panel discussion, our panelists, our esteemed panelists will join ourselves. So the stage is all yours, Sadiki.
Okay. Well, if you want to clap. Well, I just heard somebody clap, and when I started speaking, she stopped, and then I said, okay, let the clapping begin. All right. Saving the best for the last. As you know that I am Intakam Sadikin. He introduced me very eloquently. But okay, first of all, I have a question. So, you guys, have your lunch? Lunch done, completed? Feeling sleepy, energized? In the middle? I'm not getting a good feedback. So, are you guys excited to have this?
Yes.
What I can promise you is whatever unfolds in the next 30 minutes, you guys will be able to see something quite interesting. Whether it would help you or not, that's a totally different story altogether. But I will try my level best to make sure that you guys don't fall asleep. Alright, so today's topic is, again, technical management. I'm going to be throughout the next 30 minutes or so. I will try to explain what technical management is all about, what it means, because again, it's actually a vague term, and how it breaks down into two sections, what deals with what I'm going to be unfolding in the next 30 minutes or so. I am essentially a project manager. I work at this company called IMS Health. We work for pharmaceutical companies providing business intelligence solutions. I'm also a Scrum Master, a certified Scrum Master. For everyone else who perhaps do not know what Scrum Master is or who a Scrum Master is, I guess you will get to know in a while. I am a startup enthusiast. In the beginning of today, when Topo Bhai was talking about technical entrepreneurship, I guess you've heard me speak for about a minute or so about my failures as an entrepreneur. So that will not shy me away from starting again. I might fail again, but hey, that's fine, that's life, you know. So that's the reason why I am a startup enthusiast. I'm very enthusiastic about startups. Again, people actually call me a movie buff because my favorite pastime is watching movies. If you ask my wife, she might have a completely different angle to it, but hey, I'm a movie buff. First of all, let me get a show of hands. Who in here belongs to the software industry or aspires to be a software engineer? Show of hands. 4, 5, maybe. 5, you, 5.5. Okay. All right. So the reason why I asked that question is because myself, coming from a completely software background, everything that you will see or the examples that you will hear from me would cater to software engineers. But I will try my level best to make sure that I present something that everyone else can actually take away from. I will try to keep it as generic as possible. Alright. My objective today here. You guys know about technical management. Technical management is something that, well, if you Google, you will get to know a lot about it. Whatever comes inherently to you, if I ask you today, maybe, I don't know, you, for you to manage a project, you will be able to do so. Because that would come inherently to you. What are the things that you need to do in order to make sure to deliver a project that would very much come inherently to you? You do not have to learn anything. You need to have a team, you need to have a project, you have goals, you combine the two to achieve that goal. It's not rocket science. How well you do it, that's a different story altogether. Controversial slide, but I will get to it in a minute. Just the session that we had right before this one, Tanzim Bhai talked about leadership versus management. And he spoke very eloquently that a manager is somebody who is controlling, is monitoring, he is an assigned role, and he exercises a lot of authority. Who is this guy on my left? That's Hitler, right? He is controlling, he is extremely monitoring, that is an assigned role, he is extremely authoritative. But he is, in history, one of the biggest, and I would not say successful depending on the definition of success, he is one of the most influential leaders in history. So, do these definitions of controlling, monitoring, assigned role, authority is only associated with a manager? No. On the other hand, the guy on the right, he is visionary. He sacrificed a lot for his company. He was actually kicked out of his company in the middle. Then he came back and revived the company again. While he was actually kicked out of the company, he started 2 new companies. One is Pixar, if you are aware of. He is a very charismatic leader. But he also possesses some of the traits that we know these days in a very misleading way, some of the characteristics of a manager. So you would not really be able to point your finger at a set of characteristics and say that this person is a manager and this person is a leader. Okay. Today my talk is going to be essentially about these 2 things. This is basically a dichotomy of technical management. What is technical management? It concerns with technical project management, and it also deals with managing technical teams. So basically, it's 2 sides of the coin. It's exactly the same coin, technical management, but there are 2 sides of it. And over the course of the next, 25 minutes or so, I will try to explain what they are. What does it take to be a good technical project manager? Obviously, you have to have project management skills. You need to possess some technical skills. You have to have definitely some soft skills, because that is management is all about. And something that is not here is certain number of experience for you to be a technical project manager or a technical manager or a manager of some sorts. Unless you have experience, in my opinion, it is absolutely impossible to be a manager. To be a good manager. You can be a manager tomorrow, that's not a problem. But in order to be a good manager, a good project manager, and a good technical project manager, you have to have experience. Okay. Project management. Now, the project manager is someone who is basically the captain of the ship. He guides the ship. He does not do everything on his own. It is impossible. A ship contains an entire crew, but he is basically the captain of that ship. He provides guidance. He looks at the North Star and says, that is where we are going. I'm talking 150 years ago, but nowadays they've got GPS and everything. So they don't have to look at the North Star anymore. But project manager is essentially a person who is involved in project initiation, is involved in the planning, is involved in the execution phase, is involved in the delivery of the product or the project or whatever you would like to call it. And finally, it is unto him to make sure that he closes the project. Now, a project manager who instills or infuses certain technical skills or certain technical aspects of bringing in technology or technical aspects into all of these things, and the person who actually does that is essentially the technical project manager. You do not have to be a technologist to be a project manager, but if you want to infuse technology into your daily work, into the aspects that are mentioned here, it becomes a role of a technical project manager. These are the broader things that I guess most of you have encountered, or most of you actually know of. I have taken it directly from the internet. There's nothing to see here, nothing earth-shattering. Everyone is well accustomed to it. as a project manager, there are various methodologies that a technical project manager or a project manager would actually take into consideration while managing a project, whether it be technical or otherwise. There are traditional practices. You plan for a certain number of months, then you go into your execution phase for even a longer number of months, and then you finally deliver the project. What is wrong with that approach? Can anybody tell me? For the longest time, people used to follow that approach. There is nothing wrong with it, and in certain cases, this would work. But in contemporary world, people are moving away from this. And the reason for that is, you plan, and then you do. When you do for a certain number of years or a certain number of months, and then when you deliver that project, the client might actually come back to you and say, look, this is not what I wanted. What I had envisioned and what you have provided to me are completely different. Then you go back to the drawing board. And then you redo everything. And then you go back to the client and say, you have to pay more because I was not able to provide what you had asked for. Then the client gets frustrated. And then you get frustrated. And eventually, the project ends up in failure. There are other approaches which have worked for people, which is total chaos. You do not have any process whatsoever. Do whatever you want. Small projects. Are there any freelancers here? Odeskers, rent-a-coders, get-a-coders? Anybody? You, fantastic. You don't need to plan your work. You don't need to have a good execution phase. You don't need to make sure that you close your project. Yes, you do that in some form or the other, but you do whatever you want. And that is called total chaos. Now, if I ask you to manage a project that consists of, let's say, 10 people, and apply that formula or apply that principle into that project of total chaos, what do you think that project will be? Failure. Now, coming back to contemporary practices, have all of you heard of the word called agile? What does agile mean? Anyone? Somebody who's very active, right? That's what agile means. But in the world of delivery, whether it be a software project, whether it be any other engineering project coming from any other discipline, agile actually means that you plan for a short amount of time, you do for a short amount of time, you retrospect on whatever you have done, and then you adjust yourself. So, instead of going back to the client after 6 months of project work, you go back to the client after 2 weeks, after 1 week, and ask the client to use your software, or use your product, or use your project, or whatever, and get the feedback from him. That way, you would not actually have to wait until 6 months to understand that your product is crap. Within a week or so, you will actually get to know in which direction you are going, whether it is correct or not, or whether you need to make any adjustment or not. So, in the contemporary practices of product delivery or project delivery, Agile is very prominent. And there are certain frameworks of Agile called Scrum, Kanban, where their main motto, the main nucleus of those frameworks are, you plan, you do, you retrospect, and then you adjust yourself. And you do that every week or every couple of weeks or in an iterative manner. Okay. There are two ways of doing things. And when it fails, who to blame? Building the wrong thing. If the manager who is in charge of the project, who is managing that project, who is, as I said earlier, the captain of the ship, if he is communicating the requirements of that project in a wrong way, then the engineers would translate that into something that would eventually lead to a total failure. Now, who is the person who is to be blamed for that? 90% of the time, it is the manager. It is absolutely the manager's prerogative to make sure that he translates everything that he has gathered from the client in a manner that his engineers understand. On the other hand, building the thing wrong. Maybe the manager has given every bit of information to his or her engineers. Maybe the engineers did not really understand the requirements. And then, after a certain period of time, you would find that your project has failed. In that particular case, the blame is actually shared between the manager as well as the engineer. Now, if you see these two pie charts, 90% of the time it is the manager's fault when what you're building is wrong, or building the wrong thing, and 50% of the time it is the manager's fault when you're building the thing wrong. This is very interesting to look at because, as you can see from both of these, a majority of the portion of the blame is actually given to the manager. So, as a project manager or as a technical project manager, it is of utmost importance that you understand what the requirement is to the last letter and then communicate that to your engineers in the best manner possible. Because it is that communication between the technical project manager and the engineers that would make sure that you have success at the end of the road. There are certain myths about this new term called agile. It's a one-size-fits-all approach. You can apply it anywhere. That's a fallacy, that's a myth. Agile would not be applicable in all of the projects. No. It is under a very controlled environment where Agile would actually work. Agile means less documentation. No. A project can come with hundreds and hundreds of pages of documentation. Agile does not mean less documentation. Agile does not mean that you have to write less. Even though you're planning small, doing small, and then adjusting yourself, in that planning, doing, and adjusting yourself, you can do a lot of documentation. Writing or not writing has got nothing to do with Agile. Agile means better quality. No. It really is upon the project manager and the quality assurance team that would decide whether the project or the product that you're delivering would be considered to have a certain level of quality or not. Clients love Agile. Clients do not even understand what Agile is. Go to a client and say, from tomorrow I'm going to follow Scrum. He's going to look at you for a while. And then he's going to ask you, by the way, what does Scrum mean? He does not know. So it is absolutely a fallacy to assume that clients will understand that. Some people will also believe, or would like to believe, that your love life will improve as a result of following Agile. I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple. Then I guess none of us husbands would actually have to fight with our wives. Or none of you fair ladies would have to fight with their husbands. Now, what are the benefits of being a technical project manager? Since you're bringing in your technical expertise into the project, you would not really have to rely on somebody else's estimation. Let's say you are one of my engineers. We are building some concrete structure. We are building a tank. I come to you and ask you, do you see that nozzle in front of the tank, which uses to fire at your target? How much time would it take for you to build that? You come back to me and tell me it will take 6 months. Now, if I'm a non-technical project manager who comes from a different discipline, I would actually have to take your word for it. But if I have that technical background, I would be able to challenge you. So, estimation within the project would actually become better. Bridging the gap between business requirements and coding. Now, for all of the other engineers from a different discipline, coding would actually get replaced by other engineering activities. So, bridging the gap between what the client wants and what you will provide. If you are a good technical project manager, you would actually understand the lingo or the language of both the worlds. You would understand what the client needs. You would be able to translate that into technical requirements and then provide that to your engineers. So bridging the gap between both of them would be one of your fortes. Contribute code is something that a technical project manager would do, and this caters to the software engineers here in the room. Providing technical solutions in the absence of a tech lead. So if there's a project where there is a designated tech lead, and if that person is absent, then the project manager would be able to provide technical solutions if he or she is a technical project manager. What are the traits of a technical project manager? Again, leaders and managers are not two different breed of people. We are all the same. A project manager needs to have good leadership quality. He needs to have charm and charisma. He needs to have a lot of confidence. He needs to make sure that his words get translated into action, otherwise he will not earn that respect. He should be a problem solver. Maybe an engineer is having trouble with somebody else. Maybe that engineer is having trouble with the environment. That technical project manager or project manager should be able to solve that problem, to make sure that the delivery of the project is smooth, to make sure that he takes care of his engineers. And he also needs to understand the technical prowess within the team. So he actually needs to understand what are the characteristics of my engineers. Is he good? Is he good? Is he mediocre? What do I need to do to make sure that he is up to the level of somebody who is good? A technical project manager needs to communicate. Technical project manager, manager, whatever you like to call it. Communication is the biggest role or the biggest thing that a project manager should do. If there is lack of communication, the project is bound to fail. You might not have very good technical people in your team, but if there is any gap in communication, your project would bound to fail. And then the project manager should exhibit emotional intelligence. How many of you know what emotional intelligence is? 2, 3. Okay, good. Better than what I thought it would be. You've heard of IQ, right? Intelligence quotient. A person with a high IQ would essentially get the job done. Everyone would rely on the person with a high IQ. Emotional intelligence is EQ, emotional quotient. A study has been done in a number of universities, Carnegie Mellon University, MIT, and perhaps another university, where they saw people who exhibit EQ more than an IQ is more likely to succeed in life or in any company, as opposed to somebody having a very high IQ. I'm going to very briefly describe what EQ is. There are 4 aspects of it: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. You have to be aware of yourself. What makes you angry? What makes you tick? What bothers you? Maybe he bothers me. And I need to know that. So that whenever he comes to me, I should not react in a manner that portrays my inner feeling towards him. When he comes to me and asks me for something, and let's say I don't like him, I don't like his attitude, but I'm a professional. It needs to be, my words and my actions needs to be translated in a very professional manner, right? So I need to be very self-aware. If I am self-aware, if I know what makes me angry, what makes me tick, I would be able to better manage myself in that situation. I also have to be socially aware. Maybe this group of people have already started hating me. Maybe I'm getting that vibe from maybe this section. And I have to understand that. I have to realize that. Otherwise, I would not be able to manage my relationship with them. Maybe I see them yawning. What does that mean? My presentation is not very interesting, right? So I have to understand that. I have to be socially aware. I gave a very naive example, but that is what it's all about. And now, if I have some stake with them, or they have some stake with me, I have to make sure that what they feel about me get translated into how I manage my relationship with them. So that's emotional intelligence. What techniques technical skills do you require? You have to learn all that. There are, I don't know, maybe 100 names of technologies. You have to learn all this to be a good technical project manager. I'm kidding. You don't have to learn all that. You have to come up with certain technical understanding. You have to understand technology. If you come with a background of technology, it really helps to be a good technical project manager. Okay. How much time do I have? 5 minutes. 5 minutes? That's more than enough. I'm kidding. That's not really more than enough. In my last segment, somebody said during the panel discussion that when a resource comes to me and tell me that I'm having a problem, that I need a raise, that I need to do that, you lost me at resource. I get actually quite offended by the fact that people call you resources. The laptop is a resource. This table is a resource. This pointer is a resource. You guys are people. So there is a discipline in BBA and MBA called human resource management. I don't agree with that. Us humans, we are not resources. I'm sorry. I do not buy that. Engineers are artists. If you have to tell an engineer to go from point A to point B, and these are the certain steps that you have to take, and in each and every step you have to do each and everything, an engineer would get bored. You have to tell them a story. You have to paint them a picture, and then see the magic unfold. Because these are very creative people. They know more about technology than you can ever fathom. So let them do their job. Give them broad sketches. Tell them a story and see what they do for you. Listen to them very carefully. Chances are, 99% of the time, the engineers within your team are actually smarter than the technical project managers. Maybe the technical project manager would come into the team with 15 years of experience, but one developer or one engineer with 1 year of experience might be more talented, might be more gifted, might be more technologically sound than the project manager. So his input is far more valuable than you can ever imagine. So you have to listen to them. You also have to listen to them as to what inspires them. What do they really want? Are they getting bored or not? What they're doing, is it providing them enough challenge or not? So you always have to talk to them. You always have to listen to them. You cannot be like, look, I am extremely busy, I'll talk to you later. Do not ever do that. I have done that in the past. And I have seen how things unfolded in terms of my relationship with them. You have to listen to your engineers. Your work, whatever you're doing right now, is far less important than listening to your engineer, because he might have something very important to tell you. Give them space. I used to be this fat guy. That's a different story that I have lost 15 kgs in the last 1.5 years, but I used to be this fat. I used to be this guy at one point in my life. I used to micromanage. I used to breathe down on people's neck as to what you're doing. I used to be like, so what are you doing? After 2 minutes, again, what are you doing? Are you going in the right direction? What is it that you're writing? After 5 minutes, I used to come back and do that again. What does that show? I don't have any trust in it. I don't trust my engineers. But learning Agile and learning certain frameworks of Agile have made me think otherwise. I empower them now. I make sure that they are more important than me. I think they are more important than anything within the team. Because he makes me look good. And if he's making me look good, I do not want to mess with him. I have to make sure that he is happy. Include them in business requirement discussion. Again, whatever input or whatever technological input that they might actually give might give you a lot of insight. So you have to include them in business requirement discussion. spend time with the developers, as I said, that you have to listen to them. You have to see what their needs are. You have to attend to their needs, and so on and so forth. Work with problem solvers. They might not be the smartest people around, but trust me, they're the most hardworking people around. Let me give you a quick example. Who are these people? Steve Marquardt, Marquardt, flair personified, flamboyant, talented, gifted. Wasim Akram's Yorker could not even get him out. He would make that look like a very easy shot. Steve Waugh, he looks very shaky when he comes into bat, or when he used to come into bat. Who is more successful? Who will go down in history as the most influential cricketer in Australian cricket? Steve Waugh. You know why? Because Mark Waugh used to spend 4 hours in the nets. Steve Waugh used to spend 10 hours in the nets because he knew he is not as gifted as Mark. He knew that the fact that he does not possess the talent like his brother, he needs to make up for with sheer hard work. You have to work with hard-working people. Talent is a plus, but you will not find talent always. A project manager or a technical manager or a person who's managing a technical team might not have the luxury of working with all talented people. But what he needs to get from his engineers is sheer hard work. I should die on a treadmill before running 50 miles. That should be the attitude. Either I will cover 50 miles on a treadmill or I will die doing that. So that is the sort of attitude, that is the sort of behavior that you need to get out of your engineers. The pay-it-forward approach. Whatever the engineer learns, he needs to always share with at least 3 other people so that they themselves can share it with few more people. So that is the approach of paying it forward. Do not keep all of the knowledge to yourself. I know this is a competitive world. I know that whatever knowledge that you have will help you climb the corporate ladder or any other ladder. But when you share your knowledge, unknowingly you're instilling a lot of creativity in the other person as well. They themselves will be able to share that with other people. And then you build a community. And then you build an environment. So you have to get rid of your heroes if you have those in your team. A hero approach, one person doing everything, that does not work always. But a team, an environment, or a community where everyone knows, everyone is a jack of all trades, that team, that community, that environment would succeed 90% of the time. A developer would, or an engineer, or a creative person would get bored very easily. You have to challenge them. Every day you have to challenge them. You have to make sure that you're providing challenges to them, because an engineer who's running after money, don't have that in your team. Don't have that person in your team. The person who runs after challenges, who comes to you and tell you, I'm not challenged enough today. I'm not going to come into office today because you're not challenging me. I don't want to work for you because you're not challenging me. You're asking me to do something that is monotonous. Even though that is a very bad reflection upon you as a tech manager, but you have to make sure that you challenge your engineers. Otherwise, they will not work for you. Expect craziness. These are creative people. Craziness is a part of their DNA. One of the guys might actually start jumping up and down. He might throw a tantrum. He might be throwing a fit at you. He might shout at you. Absorb that. Because him doing that, him venting, means that he's doing something really creative. More often than not, he's actually doing that when he's acting out, when he's acting a little crazy. Be a coach, not a dictator. Dictatorship never works. There's nothing to explain here. You have to coach your people. You have to tell them. You have to show them. Do not dictate. Protect your team from outside influence, from the management, from bad things. Take one in the chin from your management. Let's say the management is issuing an order that impacts your team. Absorb that. Make sure that it does not get trickled down to your team. You have to act as a shield for your team. Take one in the chin for your team, and then your team will die for you, will respect you. Inspire them to get out of the comfort zone. Interesting story. When I actually came through this corridor, I did not know that I had to open my shoes. I was actually taken out of my comfort zone. I thought, hell, I think I'm going to have a really bad day today. Because I was actually in the zone. I was preparing for this presentation. I was actually running it over and over in my head. And when I was walking down the corridor, I actually had to stop. I had to think. I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to open my shoes. Oh my God. I mean, everyone else might not in a manner as I was thinking, but I was actually in a zone. So just a small example, but that has got nothing to do with what I'm showing here. You have to challenge your developers to get out of the comfort zone. They are maybe comfortable writing hundreds of lines of code or building something for, I don't know, 6-7 hours. Give them another challenge. Give them something different, something that they have never thought of. That way, you will be able to make sure that your engineer grows with you and you will grow with him. This is the second last slide of my presentation. These are the books that I would recommend that you read. One is Emotional Intelligence, which I guess I spoke about. Smart Cuts is essentially what good entrepreneurs have done in the past in order to be successful entrepreneurs. And Ninja Innovation. What innovative things actually came into this world in the last 150 years. So I think these are the 3 books that you must read. Thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you everyone for being with me. And thank you everyone for not sleeping.
Thank you, Intikam Sadiq Bhai, for your pretty nice speech. And this is the time for question and answer. If you have any specific questions, specific to the speaker or this presentation, you can ask so that Intikam Bhai can clarify it more. So anyone, any question related to this technical management presentation? And obviously we have our panel discussion next, which will be much more interesting, I know. Here we are.
Thank you. I am Pramati. I work in a role that is in technical management, and I think I would like to go back to a slide we talk about the craziness of certain engineers. We have a very varied team, and people have different levels of talent. In my team, I, for example, have this one particular member who's very talented, but is a bit of a maverick, a rebel, and sometimes we do things differently for the sake of doing it differently. What that does is it creates a sort of resentment in other engineers who see me making allowances for that particular person. So how do you create harmony in a group like that? How do you prevent conflict in a group like that, where you're making certain exceptions to people who don't function, let's say, normally?
Okay. The simple answer, the short answer is, allow the other person to be as crazy as the other person. The long answer is, if the person is acting out because he's having a bad day, I would not call that craziness. If a person is doing something really creative and he needs to vent because he has provided 22 hours of his brain into something, then I will allow that. And somebody else who is not doing as much, I will actually show him, look, would you be able to replicate what he's doing? You come to me and show your craziness when you're able to replicate that. So that then becomes something very quantitative. You will be able to measure what he's doing. If he's spending 15-20 hours in a project, and if the other person is spending 6-7 hours in a project, then it's very easy to differentiate the amount of effort the other person is doing and having a bit of craziness, having a bit of fit, as opposed to somebody who has only spent 6 to 7 hours. It's very easy for me. Look what he's doing. Do that first. Bring to the table that he is bringing, and then we'll have a discussion. So it's actually easy for me.
Thank you.
Any question?
Thank you.
Any critique? No? I'm actually quite upset. Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Please introduce.
I'm Celia from Professor Department of Triple Liquid and Chair Women in Engineering and Electrical Transportation. So my question is, that you know that the good leaders are those who create new leaders.
Of course.
So in a team, if you're wants to select your team, if the team members are not aligned with the same passion that you have, then even if you want to give them space, what will be the outcome? What is your suggestion for the leader and what is your suggestion for the team members who are not aligned with the same passion?
Okay, sure.
So
I will,
how the
of
project
course.
will be successful?
Okay. Now, I will answer your question, but
You have to.
I will answer your question, but I just want to clarify one thing. The role of a leader in a team is somewhat different than the role of a project manager in that team. Or the role of a leader in a team is actually quite different than somebody who is managing that team. Because a manager has a different set of activities that he must or he needs to do, whether it is project management or whether it is team management. Now, speaking, of course, so speaking of passion, let's say whether I'm a leader or a manager, that's besides the point. I am managing the team, that's it. And I have a certain level of passion in me. Every day I come into the office with a lot of zeal, with a lot of passion, with a lot of excitement, enthusiasm. But somebody else, or maybe people within the team might not share my enthusiasm. I would take it upon myself that I have failed as a manager, that I was not able to instill the same sort of passion. Or maybe he's having a really bad day. I have to understand that. I'm not expecting him to be as enthusiastic as I am, but I want him to be somewhat enthusiastic as I am, because that is how I roll. Whenever I have a team meeting, I make sure that everyone speaks up. Whatever it is. I ask them, how was your day? A simple question. The answer to that, I ask another question. And another question. Maybe a bit of humor. Maybe a bit of games. That way, when they are relaxed, I tell them something inspirational. Something that will inspire them. I tell them, today we have something challenging. Let's do it. Today is the day we do something. They're like, yes, let's do this. Not always, because I have bad days as well. But my team actually inspires a lot of enthusiasm. So it starts off with a small question. For me, that is how I do it. Try to find out, try to dig deep as to why he's not feeling as enthusiastic about the work as I am towards that same work. If I see that he's not sharing the same enthusiasm, then chances are that the bar that I have set for him, he will not be able to reach that. Because if I'm following Agile, then there are deliveries of the product or the project every week. And if you're not up to your A game every day, you will not be able to achieve that level of success. So for me, it starts off with asking a simple question and then go on to another question and go on to another question. See what excites them. See what is making them feel down. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for the question. Let me take a quick survey. How many of us are professionals? Okay, quite a few. And how many of us is about to join a profession? That means the final year students. Okay, and then my question is, okay, how many of us think that we can apply the things we have learned from this presentation about technical management? I would say that there should be more hands.
No, but I'm happy with the number of hands that I see.
Okay, so yes, we have a successful presentation here. Okay, so the question this is the end of the question answer session, and we will now begin our panel discussion, the most intriguing or interesting part. So now I'd like to request our panelists to join us in the front seat. Okay. So first, introduce our discussion panel. Right from me, we have Maruf Ahmed, Head of Operations and Maintenance, one of the Deputy Directors of Bangalink. Then we have Anamika Bhakta, Vice President, Technical Regulations, Regulatory Affairs, Robi Asiata Limited. And we have Intikab Sadiki again, the Tech Manager, IEEE. Finally, I myself, Abdullah Saki. I am a safety engineer of one of the companies here in Bangladesh, and I will be the moderator for the session. So if anyone is killing much time, I will be rather ruthless to stop him or her. Just kidding. I am a very polite kind of guy. I don't do such bad things. Okay, so the topic of our presentation was technical management. We have a very interesting speech on that given by Intikab Sadiki. And now we'll begin the panel discussion. There will be questions from your side. And I myself will also ask questions to our panel members. And they, with their years of their experience in the related fields, they will, I know they will provide the best possible answer, which will help us to be a better manager when we'll be managing the technical teams. So, let us begin the show. Okay. So, any question from the audience to our panel members? Any questions? Don't be afraid. Okay, there's no one so far enthusiastic. Okay, we have one. Please introduce yourself first.
Hello, I'm Farhana Chaudhary. My question is, having an engineering background, whether that's from any sort of discipline, how fulfilling is it in going into project management, since you don't always get the chance to actually apply your technical knowledge in there?
Okay, let me add something with Abu's question. Is engineering degrees enough, or we need to pursue some business degrees or management degrees to be a successful manager? Okay, so first we will go to all our panelists. First we'll start with Maruf Ahmed sir.
Thank you for the question. Actually, yes, I know today's topic is technical management, but let us not forget that we should not start, or we will not be able to start our life as a manager. I mean, first of all, we know that most of us has to start a life as a team member. I mean, that's the first step that you will see in your life. I mean, you will not be always be a manager in the day one. So, I mean, though this course is about technical management, but bear it in your mind that you have to be a team member first. And of course, I know you have to pass a couple of years as a team member, and once the then manager will find enough potential, and then you will leap up in the second level, and that's the course of life, and you will not never get anything in the day one. So whatever you need to learn, you have to learn things the day one, and that's the rule of the game. And as Sadikin was saying, you have to be very much hardworking, very much, and with this hard work and all of the attitudes that you will show, you will build up a brand within yourself. I mean, you will have competitors. You will have competitors within the team, within the organization, within the social life, everywhere. And you have to build a brand within yourself, and that brand will bring you up the layer, and you will become a manager or team leader, whatever you call. And referring to the question that the young lady has asked, that actually I will say that being a professional in a specific area, it can be a engineering degree, it can be a medical science, it can be anything. It rather helps to be a manager rather than being a general manager. What I need to say that you will find a lot of good examples of very successful leaders who are coming from the engineering backgrounds, and they are becoming the real good leaders. At least in Bangladesh, there are two military leaders. I mean, two army chiefs came from the engineering background. I mean, they are from this university. I know this. Anamika, she is a you can see from her designation, she's a regulatory affairs guy, and she handles the government agencies for the telecom company. I mean, he's from Robi, but she's an engineer. I mean, nowadays she is using his technical backgrounds, and I'm sure that this background is helping her. So I'll also pass over the microphone to her to share her experience. So actually, it helps your professional degree to be a successful manager or leader. I mean, and you have to know the art of using that specialized knowledge and to build your brand. I mean, whenever there are things for example, most of the companies, they are doing work on any kind of specialist things. So if you are a specialist on that, and when there is a competition selecting a leader, of course you will get the advantages if you possess other qualities to be a manager or a leader. That's the thing I want to say. Or maybe if you can share.
Okay, the first thing is when you have graduated, you have some basic knowledge in engineering. So when you are entering in a professional life, first of all, maybe you will be in the technical division. So first of all, you have to grab the functional knowledge in your respective area, how we can, because the graduation, what you have learned in the undergraduation, it is the basic thing, and you will use those knowledge to your professional life. But in your whole career life, you will not always be a technical lead. Sometimes you have to, if you just move forward in your career, in some time you will be a manager, leader. So I think that in addition to the technical knowledge and expertise and experience, like I have also done the MBA after completing my graduation, but it's helping me because I'm getting other areas, how the HR thinking, how the marketing part of it, commercial. So it helps me to utilize my basic knowledge and to lead with a team. Just to share with my career, so far my career I have progressed. I started my career with the technical division. I was in CTCL for 2.5 years, totally in a technical division. So I gathered knowledge on the technical side. Then I moved to the government organization. I was in BDSP for 6 years. It was also related to the technical things. Some of my friends are also there in the technical division. At the middle of my journey in the regulator, one of my friends switched from the regulator to the Gramin phone, mainly the regulatory affairs division. Then I hated him. He said, how come you are a technical people, you are served here, you knowledge and experience in the technical division, now you are moving to the regulatory affairs, which is actually looking at the policy, regulation, in technical point of view though, but it needs to work with the government agencies for the better regulatory environment to make the policy and regulation which is good for the organization and also for the government. Then I was thinking that I will never switch from here to any regulatory affairs at least, because I am working in the government organization. I will go there, and again I have to come here to pursue things and to talk with the government agency for better outcome. But finally, you see, the same thing happened, and now I feel that though maybe I have not perceived it in a proper way, but now I think that it has done a lot of good things. I have gathered some knowledge and experience in addition to my core technical areas, and it is actually helping. Though I am in the regulatory affairs, but there are a lot of technical issues that actually helps me to take the proper decision and also to work with my team and to contribute to the organization. So I will say that in addition to the technical knowledge, if you want to be in the leadership position in future, you also need to have some other additional leadership traits that already the Sadiq Bhai has already mentioned in his presentation. So it will actually help you to be, because technical background is the basic thing, and it's the added advantage for you to be a good leader specifically in the technical areas. Thank you.
To answer your question, you need to have experience. Otherwise, you will not be able to start your career as a project manager. Project management is not the first step towards starting your career. You have to be a team member, as he said very eloquently. You have to gather enough experience, learning from your peers, learning from your seniors. I will share a very interesting story of my life. I wish Topu Bhai was here, the person who actually gave a presentation on technical entrepreneurship. When he was, he's actually the founder of CAS Software, as everyone might know. Back in 2007-2008, I actually went into CAS to give an interview for the position of a senior software engineer. That interview lasted 20 minutes, and I got the biggest bashing of my life. I was only 1 year into my career, and I considered myself to be worthy of being a senior software engineer with having just 1 year of experience. So that was very arrogant of me. He put me to my place. He was not rude, he stated facts. That really helped me. Topu Bhai has played an immense role in my life to be where I am today, because I understood the value of time. So you have to have experience that will come by, over the course of months, years, or whatever, but you have to have experience. You have to spend some number of years in your discipline in order to at least call yourself a project manager, because project management is something that you need to learn. There are certain leadership qualities that a manager needs to possess that can come inherently, but there are certain things, certain aspects of project management that you need to learn by working within a team and then grow from there. And to answer your question, whether you need any other degree such as an MBA, I always discourage my team members to get an MBA. I want them to walk in the path and die as an engineer at heart. So that's just my opinion. I know that there are companies, there are good technology-oriented companies where if you have a management degree such as an MBA, you would be able to climb the corporate ladder. You might be able to apply for the position of CTO maybe, or any CXO position if you have an MBA degree. But since you are a technical person, since you are an engineer, since you are a creative person, stay that way for the remainder of your life. I'm not saying that when you become a project manager, all you do is manage. It's not only about project management, it's about technical project management. So you have to bring the technical aspect of it on the table. Otherwise, you will not be able to be a good technical project manager. So my opinion, forget MBA, stay on the path of being an engineer.
I agree with you in one point, because the thing is, if you do MBA, it's the basic thing you'll get some basic knowledge on it. But if you don't impose or if you don't practice those things, even you can learn the same thing when you are doing jobs. But what MBA will give you, it will give you the basic things on other areas. It will not make you a master in the leadership quality or as a manager. You can learn the same thing even from your career if you want to learn. That's the thing I want to say.
Okay, that was interesting. Do MBA or not do MBA? Okay, so Shuzukov.
I'm Rahim from Russia University of Engineering Technology. So, sir, my question is that Mr. Malcolm has said that whatever you learn it since the day one. That means, first of all, I have to have some technical expertise in any sectors. That means I can make myself able to do some things. Then after that, I have to make myself available in the day two. That means I can manage anything. Sometimes we have seen that some of us don't have any technical expertise, don't have good technical expertise, but we have very good managerial expertise and something like that. So how can we go to the day two? That's actually my question.
I mean, as Sadikin was saying, you need to have some sort of experience. I mean, as a team member, I mean that's a must. I mean, that's from my life. I did not do my MBA. I am a 2 times dropout from MBA actually for my business busy life. I could not complete. So, but you have even if you have the potential to be a manager, you have to express it to the team, to the people, to the decision makers. And you have to have a working partner within the team, to be a working partner within the team, to express yourself. And you have to show the potential. That's the word I am using, because whenever somebody looks into 10 people, and of course all the 10 will not be a technical manager and also will not be the leader. I mean, maybe one or two, and everywhere there is a pyramid structure. So you have to have proof the potential within yourself. Yes, in the day one, all are more or less equal. What I mean by learning, I mean, learn from everywhere. Learn from the cleaner of your office. Learn from the cleaner of your team. Learn, look at the workmanship, how the air condition is attached here. Look at the table, how it is posted there. Look at everything. Keep your eyes open from the day one. That's the thing you need to practice. Keep your eyes open and listen to everybody. And listen, and there was a slide that you need to listen, and you have to listen for the rest of the whole your life. I mean, that's the art that you need to practice. I mean, you have to have the urge to learn. And of course, it's not only that you will learn from 9 to 6. When you go back home, you look into the languages of your social partners, look at everywhere. And nowadays with the internet world and with the mobile, I mean, you can learn from anywhere. And I should say, don't depend on the internet and web for learning. Learn from the social life, because at the end you will be dealing with the human being, not all the computers. That's the thing I should say.
Thank you for your answer, sir. Monica, ma'am, would you like to add something to this answer?
This technological now, if I say about innovation development, you see it's very rapid in every aspect in the technology, engineering side, which is electrical, computer. So you have to be cope up with the change of the change that is taking place throughout the world. So already Maruf Bhai has said that there is no alternative that you have to learn. You have to have the self-motivation to learn. Not all the time you get the opportunity from that your supervisor will create a solution or creative environment, so that you have to have that self-motivation and learning agility, so that you can learn and make yourself adaptive and in line with the change in the technology that is taking place throughout the place.
So let me see if I can get your question correctly. So you said you are perhaps not very good technically, but you have certain managerial skills. So how you go from day one to day two without being very good in day one? Is that what your question was?
Can I pass day one? And how can I pass day one? Or
Okay.
can I go to day
Now, if you are a mediocre engineer, then you really need to look at yourself. If you want to go into the technical line, whether it be as a junior engineer, senior engineer, I don't know, chief technology officer, technical project manager, whatever, from day one, if you are mediocre at what you are doing, and if you join a company as an engineer and you see that you are a mediocre engineer, you really need to look at yourself first. Because as everyone has endorsed here, you need to have certain number of years of experience in order to be a technical project manager or a project manager. Okay? Now, I'm going to share another life story of mine. 5 years into my career, I gave an interview for a person who was then the CTO of that company. And I wanted to be the tech lead in that company. The interview lasted for about 45 minutes. And for the second time in my life, I was very disheartened, because the interview went really bad. It was then that I realized that the past 5 years of my life, I did not grow as much as I would have hoped. But a very important advice that Bhaiya actually gave me. He said, "You're not a very good engineer. I don't think you will ever be a very good engineer. You don't have that passion. You are an okay engineer. If I give you a project, you will be able to do so, but you will not be able to innovate anything. And my confidence and my self-esteem was going down. But then what he said changed my life. Changed my life. He said, I see a lot of potential in you as a manager. You have good communication skills. Even though you came here to give an interview of a tech lead, but you spent 45 minutes with me. My time is precious. You were able to convince me. You failed, but you were able to convince me to a certain degree that you could be a good tech lead, even though I realized that you will never be a good tech lead. You have the ability to communicate, to convince. These are two of the traits of a good project manager. I left the company where I was working in the next couple of months, and then I joined the company where I am right now for the last 4 or 5 years as a project manager, and I'm doing really well. Look at me today. People, I have gotten this opportunity to sit among stalwarts and give a presentation on technical project management, because that person really opened my eye. So, you have to have experience in order to be a good project manager, but you will soon see, if you have that in you, that slowly but surely you are falling into project management. You are falling into managing a team, because that will emerge. Yeah? And just to add, I would like to congratulate you for dropping out of your MBA course twice, because that was the inner engineer in you that is trying to come out.
Okay, that was very helpful, I must guess. We'll back to the audience again because they are throwing very interesting questions. So this time I will ask a question to our panel members. First, say you are driving a project and you are stuck with a problem. So in that case, do you seek solution from the team, or you try to provide solution by yourself? What approach do you follow when your team is stuck with a problem?
Should I start? Okay. You have a team meeting. Okay? Whatever the problem is, small, big, medium, you have a team meeting. You call each and every member of your team. Because in one of my slides it said that you have to listen to your team members, because they might say something that might dazzle you, that you would not even fathom, because they are the people who would be able to provide that solution. You as a technical project manager, you listen to the solution and see what works best for that time frame. Maybe the solution that one of the guys, one of the talented engineers are saying might actually take 10 days of time to accomplish. But you actually have a deadline in the next 5 days. So as a technical project manager, you have to understand that you perhaps need to strip down something from the solution that one of the engineers is giving, and then you see what works best for that timeline. But the first and foremost is you get everyone on the table, and then you discuss the solution so that you find the solution to the problem in a manner that best fits for that time frame. So that would be my advice.
To me, whenever the team is facing any problem, don't as a supervisor or as a team lead. First of all, we should not provide the solution to the team. Otherwise, they will not be very innovative or problem-solving capabilities. We should give them the problem so that they come up with the solution. Could be with some options, but we have to give them the opportunity so that they come with the solution. Then we decide among the team which one will be good for the whole team and which will be good for the whole project to be within the timeline or whatever challenges we are facing. But no, we should not give the solution to the team. Otherwise, the innovation that is coming from the team and that they will not actually develop. So we need to have throw the challenge to the team so that they come up with the solution.
I agree to the both panel members, but remember, a life will not be always like this. I mean, there are certain times where, as a team member or as a team leader or as a manager, you will find yourself in a position that it is you who has to take all the decisions. It is you who has to take all the solution-making decisions. And when the storm is coming, you will find yourself only alone in the field, and you have to face it. So be courageous, be brave enough to face the problems, to face the storm, and bear it throughout your life. I mean, you are capable. Believe in yourself. I mean, you will find in scenarios where you alone has to take the decisions, and maybe it is $1 million worth decisions. So be prepared for that day as well. This theory will work 99%, but even be ready for that 1%. And I have faced these situations in my lifetime. So this is an experience from my life. Thank you.
Are you enjoying the discussion, dear audience? Make some noise, please. Yes, they are enjoying the discussion. Okay, the next question, my next question to the panel members. We are talking much about technical management. How technical management is different from non-technical management or management? What's the difference between these two? So technical management and non-technical management. First, this time I will start with Mohammed comments.
For the technical management, already Satyan has explained all the traits that the technical project manager should possess. So I'll say that for non-technical management, all the characteristic that needs to possess is same almost, but for technical manager, they need to have some additional knowledge on the technical basis, so that if the team member is stuck in a critical decision, so that the technical manager can challenge at this, and the outcome of the project will be then much better than a non-technical project manager.
Well, I will see as an example what is the difference between the Minister for Energy and Power sector, and what is the difference between the Finance Minister. I mean, what is the, let's take an example, Finance Minister is taking a project that they will revise the salary for all the government employees, and whereas the Minister for Energy, he is taking a project for making a power plant. So what will happen after 2 years, after the power plant is inaugurated and we have lights, enough light, enough energy throughout the city. Suddenly there is a failure in the system and the power plant is failed for 6 hours. You will expect that people will come out in the street right on that moment. And when there is a finance minister, he come up with a bad salary scale, you will not expect that they will come right on that moment, and they will feel that they are getting a lower salary. So after 3-4 months, their agitation, they write up in the newspaper, and then the agitation will come up. So the result of a technical manager, that their results are visible within very short period of time. And for the non-technical managers, the results are published in a greater period of time. So this is the difference, I should say, between both of them. But nevertheless, both of them are more or less same, something like this.
The common aspect between a technical project manager and non-technical project manager are obviously the soft skills and the managerial skills that are associated with it. The only difference being one will have a technical expertise and the other would not. But a non-technical project manager, if he's shoved into a project which is obviously technology oriented, then he must take help or take assistance or take advice from somebody who understands technology. Because as a project manager, you must challenge let's say the estimation that one of your engineers are giving, and you will not be able to do so if you do not have the technical expertise. So if you do not have the technical expertise, if there is a lack in your expertise, technical or otherwise, you actually need to get help or seek advice from the person who actually possesses that expertise, technical or otherwise. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. And this is our audience time again. Okay. Introduce yourself first.
Good afternoon. My name is Amir Asanasi from IEEE Student Branch. So I would like to first thank you, the speaker. I really enjoyed the talk. So my question is, like, even though I'm building my career in development sector, the thing is that one thing I really find interesting about the engineering students for myself is that we are always problem oriented. Whenever we see a problem, whenever there is, we try to find a solution. So this is I would like to know something from you, like what are the problems that you faced in your early stages of professional life and how you overcame it and how it helped you grow. So that's something that we can like relate to in our future.
I have faced tons of problems in my life, both professionally and personally, and that has helped me grow because I have learned from that experience. Now, as I have mentioned earlier in an answer to one of the questions, that in a very hard way, but I have actually learned that I'm not a very passionate technologist. I used to see software developers around me, my peers, spending 16 to 18 hours writing code. They were very passionate about it. Even in their spare time, you know what they used to do? They used to go to programming sites, ACM programming sites, and they used to solve problems. What is that UVA Online Judge site? Is it called UVA Online Judge? I think so, yeah. They used to go to that site, see the problems and try to find a solution to them and submit that problem. So that they have a huge number of problems being solved that are assigned to them. I was not that person. I really was not. I used to struggle a lot within myself. I used to struggle a lot within myself thinking that I would not be able to compete with these guys. I used to go to sleep every night thinking that I have not accomplished what I was supposed to accomplish. So there was a sense of failure in me every day because I was a developer, but I was not a good developer. And I had tons of people around me to prove that to me. So it was by luck, or maybe, interesting thing about luck is, I don't believe in luck. Even though I said it was by luck, but I actually do not believe in luck. It is when preparation meets opportunity. You are prepared inherently or with practice, you are prepared for a certain thing. And then when the opportunity comes for you to shine, people say that to be luck. I would say that when preparation meets opportunity, that's luck. So I think inherently, I was always preparing myself to be a project manager. And when the opportunity came through somebody actually pointing the finger at me and telling me, and by joining the company where I'm working right now, when that opportunity came, I actually rose to the occasion. So you have to understand what you are first. You have to find out where your passion lies. My passion lies within people. They make me look good. They are the ones who I enjoy working with. I love talking to my teammates every morning. I get to learn a lot from them. They give me a lot of advice that helps me grow. So I found out where my passion is. Pretty late in my career, but better late than never. So you have to find out where your passion is. What do you love doing? In Bangladeshi context, it is a little difficult because you do what you're supposed to do and not what you're meant to do. There's a difference. Maybe, by the way, are you married? Okay. If you're married and if you have to take care of your family, then you will do what you're supposed to, not what you're meant to do, because you have to earn money for your family. So you do not have the luxury of pursuing your passion. But since you're a student, you are in the golden period of your life, my friend. You do not have that responsibility. You do not have that added pressure on you. So this is the time for you to find your passion and pursue it. Because that is when you will actually be able to do something you love and earn good money from it.
Would you like to add something?
I mean, I'm echoing to Sadiqin actually. I mean, use the opportunity that you are having right now. Once you will have the family's responsibility, I mean, you will not be able completely to move after your passion. That's the thing. So use the opportunity right now. That is my suggestion. Don't expect that all the problems in your life will be an engineering problem. I mean, in my life, I faced most of the problems which are non-engineering. But you know, my engineering training, as I am trained to be an engineer, helped me to analyze, to synthesize the problems in an engineering way. I mean, use your knowledge to analyze the problems in an engineering way. That will really help you. Maybe in your office, you will find a problem that people are on a strike, which is very normal. So don't get scared that your team members are on strike. Or there is a water leakage from the sewerage line. So what? Be bold enough to solve the problem, even though it is not meant for you. I mean, don't scare looking into the problem, because I am not trained to be a problem solver for the sewerage line. I am an electrical engineer, I am a computer engineer, I am a software guy. Don't bound yourself within a borderline. Be open-minded. That's what I should say.
The message was kind of like, don't escape from the problems, dive into it and solve in your best possible way. So again, my question for the panelists: motivation and employee retention. We have people from telcos, they know it much better. Employee retention, how you motivate your team members or your employees so that they work for your company for a longer period of time, they don't switch jobs too often. So what is the motivation, or the approach you follow? Monica?
First of all, I want to ask a question to the audience. What do you think if I say the one main reason for the employees to leaving a company or an organization, what is the main reason? What do you think? Any case?
Better
Money,
Better salaries? Okay, then.
better opportunity.
Okay, then. Any other case?
Job satisfaction. High stress in our work. Stressful.
Guys, be very loud and be brave enough.
Yes.
You are using very low voice. And you will face it in all your life.
Expecting more salary.
that was covered already.
Okay, there are a lot of researches have already been done, and it has been proved that if I say one main reason the employees are leaving a organization, it's first of all it's because of supervisor. Do you believe this? But yes, this is a fact. So you see, but wherever most of the cases, this organization when they're leaving during the exit, if you ask the employee why you are leaving, the one thing they will say is because of salary, better opportunity. Never they will say that it's because of the environment or the supervisor. And another point is because one is leaving the company, in future they also need to refer their previous job. So they don't become so open during the exit. But if you very constructively do the analysis, you see that most of the case it's for the supervisor. So supervisor has a very key role here for a retention of the employee. And how they can do it, it's all about motivation. Now how you can motivate your team members? First of all, it's the communication that already has several times mentioned. Communication and the work environment is one of the key factors. Because you see most of the case, almost we are spending half of the day in our offices. So it's another family, if I say. If you see that environment is not favorable or you are not enjoying in that environment, you will not be able to give your best effort or give your contribution to the company to the highest level. So environment has to be very good for the employees or the team members, and the communication has to be very it's a both-way communication has to be in place, and so that the team members, they feel very comfort whenever they're sharing any experience or any fear, any problems, any emotion. So communication and environment, one of the key factor. Secondly, the development and the career progression opportunities. Whenever there is a talented people in your team, you'll see that the main motivation for them is how they're observing their future career progression. Whether there is a development opportunity or not, whether the work is very exciting or it's boring or it's challenging or not. So otherwise you cannot retain those talented people because they will leave, because they don't want the monotonous work. They want to face more challenges and challenging, exciting works. So as a leader or as a manager, supervisor, you have to ensure that that working environment and that development plan is properly placed for those team members, and so they can progress further. In addition to this, I will say that the business, they also need to be very much oriented with the business. They also need to, as a technical person, if you engage them in some of the critical decision-making process, they will also be very much empowered and encouraged. So all these are the key factors for the motivation. If you can motivate the people, they're self-motivated, and then you can actually retain that person. So here the key role is for the supervisor for retention of any members.
Sadiq Bhai was nodding so hard. Yes.
Yeah. You have hit the nail right on the head. People don't leave companies. People leave their managers. Trust me. If whatever you said, you believe that, I will someday want to work for you. Right. So, yeah, as I was saying, that people don't leave their companies, they leave their managers. Because the most interaction of the day with anybody of authority is their line manager. So if their line manager is not good to them, they will lose all motivation. Trust me. So I would like to reiterate that people don't leave the companies. People leave their managers. And talking about motivational factors, I would like to ask you to go back home today and look at a video. It's in YouTube by Dan Pink. His full name is Daniel Pink. He was actually a lawyer, and then he moved on to being an entrepreneur, and then he's a public speaker. He actually gave a problem, a very analytical problem, to two sets of people. For one group, he said, if you solve that problem, you will get $500. And to the other group, he said, if you solve that problem, you go to the next level of problem, solving another problem. The team to whom he said that he will get $500 for solving that problem actually took, I don't know, I think more than an hour to solve that very simple problem. But the team to whom he said that you will go to the next level and solve another problem actually solved that problem in a much less time. So people inherently do not get motivated by money. People who get motivated by money should not be kept in it. Yes, you need to give them a career progression. You need to give them career opportunities within the company. You need to pay them well. As a manager, you need to make sure that they are paid well, because that is, again, their livelihood. They come and work for you, not only for the challenges, but to also earn money at the end of the month. You have to make sure that they are happy, they are well off. But if you provide a good environment where they will be able to solve problems each and every day, I think that would be the biggest motivating factor for any engineer. Might not be the same for people from other disciplines. I would not be able to say very articulately about them, but for engineers, for creative people, the biggest motivating factor would be solving problems.
Thank you, Mr. Bhai. Okay, we have another question from the audience. Please introduce yourself first.
Hello, my name is Rafa from IEEE Strength. My question is to Sadiq sir. Well, you talked in perspective of technical manager. Let's say I'm a member of a project team and my leader is a dictator rather than a coach. If say I'm finding difficulties to adjust, to share my ideas, shall I keep quiet or go for it?
When you refer to me as sir, I actually look back and look for my father. Because people call my father sir. You can call me whatever you want to call me. Call me Indika. If there is somebody from within the team, whether it's a leader or somebody else with whom you cannot adjust, you have to address it right then. Do not wait for a week. Do not wait for a month. God forbid. Address it the next day. Maybe the person who you are working with is a senior member. Maybe you are a fresher. You have started working in a team where the team lead, maybe there is a team manager and a team lead. Let's say we are in a structure where there is a team manager and a tech lead, and you are just a humble team member, and you are having a problem adjusting to some of the behavioral traits of the tech lead. You have to address it right then. Yes, you will feel shy. You will be afraid that I am just a new joiner. How can I start complaining about somebody who is a veteran in the company? Maybe it is my fault. You will start questioning about yourself. You will start adjusting your behavior to accommodate your tech lead's behavior. Now that is a recipe for failure. Do not ever do that. If you go to your team manager and say that, look, I am having a bit of a problem. Now, okay, before you do that, before you escalate the problem to your manager, why don't you go and talk to your tech lead? Maybe he's a sensible person. Maybe he has certain behavioral traits that are not adjusting to yours. You two are totally different people. You will not be able to adjust with him on the very first day. If you do, fantastic, but chances are that he will not. So go and have a word with him. Try that first. If that does not work, then escalate to your manager. And then, if you see that your manager is helping you out by perhaps talking to the tech lead, by also trying to understand what the issue is, but trying to resolve it, then fantastic. And if your manager is also singing the same tune and blaming you for misunderstanding your tech lead, then I think it's time for you to leave that team and work for somebody else.
The young lady has rightly pointed out a very practical problem that will be faced most of the you guys when you start a career. I mean, Bangladesh is not an ideal, very much ideal place. You have to make your position as ideal. That's the thing you will find. I mean, we have talked about a lot of good words, how a good manager should be, how a good management should be, but practically you will not find these good things in your life. In your life you will find the places like the young lady has rightly identified. I mean, most of the places will be like this, but be prepared for that. Be ready for that. Be ready for facing the worst thing. I should not use the bad things actually. Thank you.
Just to add some practical experience, in our team also we faced same kind of problem 3-4 years back, and it was so mentally it is so problematic because every day when I was just going to the office, I was feeling that again I have to enter into that environment. So it's very much important for any organization to ensure a better environment within the team. Though now I have very good team members and they are working, very helping each other, sharing. There is no problem, there is no ego, it's like a very good teamwork. But they have to go through some process to solve these things. The problem that was identified by someone else, we have to have a very good coaching with the team members. There are some approaches to do this kind of things. Because whenever a team member is not delivering or creating problem or any behavioral aspects, we need to change. We need to go through a very structured process so that it is resolved. In this case, few things very important for any supervisor, because we think that only to communicate with the team members is enough. It's not. There are a lot of elements. What do you think about the coaching? When you're doing coaching with your team members, there are few elements like content, what will talk to your team members, and then your tone, and then your body language. What do you think about the content? What percentage of it has the influence on the content? Can you guess? If you have a discussion with the team members to solve any behavioral aspects, you have to have some communication with him. You have to have some share with your experience, or your some content has to be there. What is the weightage of that content? How much percentage? 50. Any other guess? Tone, body language. Yes, you are correct.
It's depend on his skill.
Whatever he said is correct, because the content is only 7 to 8%, and the tone, that is almost 37 to 38%, because it says how much caring you are for that person. Otherwise, he will not feel that to share his problems openly with the supervisor. And the third is the body language. It has to be delivered to that team member that you care for him or her, so that he is opened up, he shared his emotions, and you care about their emotion, and then you will be able to find out the root cause of the problem and to solve it. Otherwise, that person will never be opened up, and that problem will never be resolved. So that is the 3 basic elements of the coaching. And for any behavioral aspect, or any if any person is not delivering what he is supposed to deliver, in this way this problem can be resolved. So that's I wanted to share with you.
I just want to intro, like, our one panelist, she just has arrived. So although we are almost at the end, but still I think she can join with us and share her views.
So my next question to the panel members, failure in project. So every project has a goal that we have to achieve and a definite time frame, the definite deadline. So if we cannot, if the team cannot achieve that goal in the limited time frame, so what's your approach? How do you handle failures in project? Do you gather your team members and give a harsh speech that for your incompetency we have failed in this project, or what you will try to motivate them next time it will be better? So what is your approach in handling failures in project?
I mean, Sadikin was showing there are approaches to the project, which was, one was, I remember, plan, and then do one time, and another was plan, adjust, and then plan and adjust. So whenever you take the second approach, I mean, there will not be something called absolute failure, I believe. I mean, because you are adjusting yourself and you are measuring your success on even once in a week. So once you find that there is something failed in the first week, of course you are going to adjust it, and you are going to revamp your actions, and you are going to retake your actions, relook into your actions, and then of course you must have some sort of success. So at the end of the time, or at another period, there will not be something called total failure or catastrophe. So in this way you can avoid even imagining that there is something called total failure. The other things, yes, failure is a part of life. So what has happened? Is it doomsday? No. Yes, embrace the failure and then learn from it and go for the another one which will be success. So that's my suggestion.
Failure actually, definitely sounds bad, but not all failure is bad. If you take the learning from the failure and you apply those learning for your next part of the project and try and deliver the results. So that culture has to be built within the team members, even within the organization, so that people doesn't have the fear of failing. Otherwise, we will not see the innovation, creativity, and taking the challenges. If you give the message to your team members that if they fail, there will be problems or they will be penalized, then nobody will take the challenge or any innovation. So ultimately, they will not grow and they will not develop their career, their knowledge and learning. So that environment has to be created by within the organization, definitely, because the culture has to be there in the organization, and also the supervisor have to create that environment within the team members that there is no fear for the failure, so that all the creativity and innovation and challenges are taken by the team members.
I learned something actually. You know, the most critical project in the world is what, for my opinion, is the war. The war itself is the most critical project. It is something that somebody has to win. During the war with England versus Argentina in the Falkland War, which took place I think 30 years back, Argentina lost the war. I mean, it was an island near to the country, but they lost the war. The British people, they won the war. And by the way, it's not the soldiers, it's not the mediocre soldiers, mediocre officers, they are not executed. I mean, at least 5 or 4 generals, they were hanged actually. They were killed. So I welcome Selim Appa actually for here. So I'll now hand over the microphone.
We have our panelist Selim Ahmed with us. Let me introduce herself. She is the Vice President of Neutral Group, and she has another designation. She is also the President of Bangladesh Women Chamber. So all the ladies in here, we can take inspiration from Selim Ahmed ma'am and also from Mohammed Abdul ma'am. So thank you ma'am for joining us. Okay, so we will be carrying on our session. The next question is,
Can I answer based on this last question?
okay, obviously.
By the way, we were talking about failure in project. Okay? Right. So, as a manager, the fear of failure should be consumed within himself. The fear of failure should not be trickled down to your team members. Like it was very well put, that if they're afraid of the failure, then certain innovation and certain creativity might not emerge. However, failure in a project is absolutely unacceptable. I, as a manager, should make sure that, number one, the project is a success, or if the project is a failure, it is not because of the team, it is because of the client. It is perhaps because the client was not engaging enough. It is perhaps because the client did not provide the feedback that we were expecting. It is perhaps because the client did not provide the feedback in time for us to implement that feedback. So, if it is due to perhaps the function of the team that the project failed, then that is totally unacceptable. Number one, the fear should not be there. It should be consumed within the project manager or the tech manager. The team needs to be completely high functioning, and there are certain approaches in order to do so. And if the project do in fact fail, or doesn't in fact fail, then it should be because of the client and not because of the team.
My complimentary question to you, that failure is completely unacceptable to you. It should not be because of the team and for you as a tech leader, because of other catastrophe, right? So, if it happens, if you see it's because of the responsibility of your some steps, then what will be your reaction to you, and what will be your reaction to your team member if you find out that the failure is coming because some sort of negligence of the team members of yourself? Response to you, reaction to you, and reaction to your team member. And in that situation, what you expect from your team members?
Okay, there are two parts of the question. So, if the project failed, which I realized because of me as a project manager, because of something that I have done wrong, because of something that perhaps due to the fact that I have perhaps taken a wrong decision maybe, I will take it in the chin and move on. I will apologize to my management, I will apologize to the client, but by no means I will let the management or the client know that perhaps it was because of the team. I will never blame my team members because of something that I failed to do as a manager, because that is completely unethical. So as far as I am concerned, no blame game. If the company decides to fire me, then so be it. And if the company decides to fire me because of the failure of one small project, I will leave that company and not wait for them to fire me. Now, if it is because of the team or some of the team members, then I will not let my management or my stakeholders or my client know that it was perhaps because of the team. I will definitely shield my team from that exposure, because I need to do that, because I will work with him in the next project. I need to give him that feeling that yes, it was perhaps because of him, which is why we have a retrospective session after each week and after the delivery of each project. And in that retrospective session, we talk about what we have done good, what could have been better, and what are the important things that we can take away from that retrospective meeting. That way, if you follow that iterative process, you will only succeed. And your failures will be consumed within perhaps the first couple of weeks of the project and not have to wait until perhaps 6 months and then find out that the project is a failure.
That means as a tech leader, failure is only yours, and when you win, you share the winning happiness to all. Is it your philosophy?
That is absolutely my philosophy, but I would also want to blow my own trumpet. I would also want to take some credit for it. If I say that the project is a big success and it is all because of my team members, chances are that I'm lying to myself. Maybe I also have done something right. Maybe I'm being a little arrogant, but I would also want to take some credit for it. Would you like to add something, Salima?
Let me speak. I don't know what to do now. Being so late, which is not very much me. I always tell everyone you have to be punctual and you have to be on time. But this is something happened with me. But sometimes I do things intentionally. Sometimes I have a pressure. Sometimes I shouldn't say traffic jam, but sometimes too much traffic. Today was intention. Today was I was too much occupied, and of course traffic. So nothing was in favor of me.
No problem. You were actually here in spirit.
But I just like to say, because I was seeing that what we have to do, and when I was coming, someone was saying that technical people how we could manage the things. I'm a student of management, so it's interesting. You're from the tech side, and I'm from the management side. And let me introduce myself. I don't know whether you know me or not, but I'm Salima. I started my life when I was very young. I was married when I was in intermediate, studying in Queen's College. And then my son was born when I was just admitted to the university. So it was a long journey. I finished my graduation, master's with my son, mutual, and then started business with friends, and then of course with my life partner and business partner, Makli, who is now the president of ABCCI. And in this whole journey, one thing I learned, that management means getting things done by others. So you have to do, but you need to see also other does. So with the technical people and with the management people, or with the technical people, whether they can manage it or not, both can. But sometimes technical people can't, because they are too much focus on their own thing, which they learn, which is their own expertise. And I think they should do only that, because sometimes if they mix, then they fail, because they don't have that expertise to manage the thing. So everyone should not be actually doing everything. Everyone should have some specialization, and that is very important in life, that you brand yourself, that what you are. On the process, maybe in the life when you start, you do many things because you have to have options. And you have to know, I'm sure you know this SWOT analysis. So you have to know your strength, your weakness, and what are the threats in life you have, and what opportunity you take. Because sometimes threat also makes you giving you opportunities. Because like when I started the Chamber of Commerce, many people say, why I separate Chamber of Commerce for women? Because I'm the founder and president of Bangladesh Women Chamber. And so many business community, mainstream business community were against me. That gave me an opportunity. I went to the donor, I went to the development people, and I said, they are not giving me to form this women's chamber. So give me some money so that I can start. There are gender activities, there are people who are feminists. So take their side and say all the bad things about men and take that opportunity. I'm not saying that I'm just making it lighter way, but the thing is, everything in life, there are opportunities. You need to know that how you can do it. And as someone was saying that, whether you are saying that the failure thing, whether how you see it, whether you blame yourself or whether you blame the team. And life within this experience of my life, you can never be rigid of anything. You can never, sometimes I see myself, sometimes I say, I can never do this, or I'll never do this. Never say that. Because you never know what you are going to do in your life. Because life makes you and puts you in somewhere which you think you will never do it, but if you do it, it will bring benefit to yourself or to your business or to your career. So be flexible, be adjustable. It's very important, because if you are not, and I always also believe that doing 100%. I said 99.9. No, because that 1% or that half or that quarter percent can make you in a position that whatever you have done with this 99.9 or plus point thing, that keeps you useful, and that becomes useless. So don't do it. And technical person is I think you should be very proud, because you have that expertise. I'm a teacher, I'm faculty of, I was a faculty of Dhaka University. I teach now at the IEEE. In fact, today also I had to take makeup class in the morning also. But whenever I teach income statement or balance sheet or something, which I started long back, I call my financial officers and I ask them that, so I try to learn from them, because they are good in that, but they are not good what I am doing. So let the technical person be, specialized on it. But sometimes some people have both the qualities, management and technology. But nowadays I think you need to manage everything. That is also very true. You cannot be only tech person and you don't know how to manage. Because ultimately, the team building, the conflict management, your life mission statement, and your goal setting in life. It's important. So how you do it? I'm a tech person. I don't know how to do the conflict management. I don't know how to do it. No, you can't say that. So that's very important. And being a leader, whatever you are in your life, leadership role makes you or gives you so much courage, so much benefit to your career. So that leading the thing, leading the way you would like to see. So you can always influence the management also. That's an art, that how you can manage it. So, and lastly, I'd like to say that, people always blame circumstances. And I always say, don't blame it. because you should look for some circumstances, look for opportunities. But if you don't get it, create it. You create your own opportunity. You create your own circumstances. That is important. In my life, I created all my circumstances. No, none has been, because so much struggle I have done in my life. So that every time I created, I missed my tutor. I used to go and cry to my faculty and said, I'm a mother, my son was sick, what to do. So you create an circumstance to the teacher that they allow you to sit for a makeup test. So you create it. None will create that for you. The faculty will not come and say, oh, you are a mother, so you have a baby at home, that's why you couldn't come. So okay, let me take your makeup class. No. It's you who will create circumstances. That is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Selima ma'am. The whole crowd was silent, like someone is spilling charming spills. Okay, the questions are like gravity, all it needs a little push. So there will be tons of questions, but we need to manage our time. So the one last question from the audience to this panel. Oh, there are so many hands. So
I think he has raised his hand before.
okay, so I will entertain just one last question from the audience. Sorry for that, I'm very sorry for that.
I'm Ramazan Vicky. I'm an assistant engineer at air liquidation limited. My question is, in Bangladesh, reality is very hard. I want to say that we graduated from an engineering background, and while we want to build our career, we haven't any opportunity right that time. So at the time we just wait for that opportunity, or we do another job, other engineering section, other types of engineering section, or we are looking for money into that where I have much pay, whether it's engineering or non-engineering. Question is there. Thank you.
This is very good question, because sometimes life is a hard drawn thing, and you have to survive also. So sometimes you don't if you don't get the opportunity, you wait for it and work for it. And in that time, whatever is actually on your way for that opportunity, do something. Don't do something which is out of the track. Keep yourself within the track, because sometimes you switch over to different track, and the year or the time you have given, that doesn't make any value. So you need to do something which will value add to your opportunity which you are looking for. That's very important. Thank you.
Whenever you are just fresh graduate, you dream something, but if you look back, if you get the chance to look back after 10 years, you will find that you are deviated from that. In most of the cases it happens. But what will happen, look back to your career path, look back to your training, look back to your learning in each of years or each of 2 years, and try to adjust to the scenario, try to adjust yourself and train yourself, something like this actually. So be flexible, as Selina was saying, be flexible. Be flexible to the scenarios, to the change, and be a good change management people. That's the trick of the life actually.
I don't even know. Yeah, Thursday, day before yesterday. I was taking interview because I'm the HR head of mutual group. So there was this, he says, I love sales. I can do very good sales, and that's my passion. He said, you studied Islamic studies. So what is this? Islamic studies, then you are saying all these things, so it doesn't relate to me. And he says, Islamic studies, that's the cheapest one. I couldn't afford my studies. And that subject, paying money is the less amount of money I'm paying. So I don't have that economical solvency. So you see, and I could see the honesty and the way he was saying, and I just selected him. So that's also important, that if you could make understand your passion, that's which comes from your body language. So how you project, how to express your passion, that also keeps you moving.
So the last question to our panelists. if you could give one advice to this large group of people, what would it be? This question sounds familiar to you, anyone? Okay, so I'll start with ma'am again. Okay.
I think one important topic that actually prevailed throughout our discussion is passion. I think passion is the word that was commonly used by all the panel members, and I think I've used it more than 10 times during my presentation. Follow your passion. I know it's going to be difficult. You have bills to pay. You have your family to take care of. Bangladesh is very unforgiving. You will not be able to pursue your passion, but at some point you will have to do that. Otherwise, you will really, really hate yourself. So follow your passion. Do what you love doing. Even if it means that is not something that will earn you a great deal of money right now, but you will learn how to monetize that. Today, the internet will give you so much exposure that somebody who sits in front of a camera in a small room and talks about movies is earning thousands of dollars each month. How do you think he does that? Because of the World Wide Web. Make use of it. You would be able to follow your passion. You would be able to pursue your dream. So I would say, follow your passion. The opportunities will fall in its place in your path.
I will say that yes, passion is definitely a part. I will say that learn, and learn. You have to have that learning agility, and if you can keep it on and continue in line with your passion, you definitely succeed.
I would say that be ready for the changes. I mean, it will not happen that whatever you dream, it will happen. I mean, be ready for the changes and learn, and be very hardworking, not only through your brain, be a physical hard worker as well. Sometimes you have to stay in your office maybe 12 hours, and don't be surprised at that. It is a demand of your life.
In my life, what I have seen, first thing is hard work. You really have to work hard. You just cannot dream and sit in idle. So dream comes true when you work hard. And then you need to be honest to yourself, to others. Because if you don't do that, then you never progress. But you need to be smart also. If you're not smart in whatever you are doing, you can never, move ahead. And as she said, learning, you need to educate yourself because, everything, every day, so many things are happening that you need to educate yourself. But finally, I should say that, you must know your route, that this is my goal and how I can go. And you need to strategize because your route you need to change, but your goal is there. And you are thinking that I'll come from this route, but the strategy says that no, who, where, when, how. It's very important. Who is going to do it? Where it's happening? How to do it? When to do it? And what are the resources I have? Resources might be from my own brain, my capacity, money, whatever it is. That strategy, doing the strategy is very, very important. So I personally always say to my husband, every day I'm strategizing, going to the university, going to Open Chamber, and doing all the things together in a perfect way. What's strategy? So hard work, honesty, smart, educating yourself, strategizing yourself to reach your goal. And you can do it. I tell you, if you dream something, if you work hard, you will be doing it. Nothing is impossible in this world. If Selima was married she was in HSC, and now all these brilliant students are coming and speaking. If I can do it, you can. Thank you very much.
And just one point to add. You all are a technical person, so you already have the added advantage. Because you can learn finance, you can learn HR, you can learn marketing, everything. But nobody can be engineer if anyone wants to. So you have some added advantage. So enrich yourself, enrich your learning experience, everything with your background.
This is the end of our panel discussion. I'm sure we have some key takeaways from these sessions. So now I would hand over the mic to Mohammad Shihabuddin, the mastermind behind this IEEE ProTalks session.
Thank you everyone for your participation in this day-long event. I told one thing today morning that these sessions a whole day, even 1 second of these sessions will not be boring. I think we have kept our promise. Audience? So we have among us two great persons, along with other great personalities actually. One is Shahidul Islam Khan sir, who is founding chair of IEEE Bangladesh section. He founded this organization in Bangladesh back in 1991, and he is also standing currently along with different positions and always guiding us in it. And we have among us Selima Abba. I met Selima Abba in Nairobi in Global Entrepreneurship Summit. She was only panelist from Bangladesh there. So,
And invited by White House.
yeah, she was invited by White House, and the only Bangladesh from there. So I requested her if she could join this event. She found a slot from her busy life from Women Chamber, Little Group, and University teaching here. I'm actually thanking her for participation along with other panel speakers like Intekab Sadeki, Anamika Bhakto, and Maruf Ahmed sir. So we'll be honoring the panel speakers with grace from IEEE Bangladesh section. We'll start with Intekab Sadeki. The honor will be given by Professor Celia Shahnaz ma'am, Women in Engineering Chair, IEEE Bangladesh section. So we'll be honoring the panel speakers with grace from IEEE Bangladesh section. We'll start with Intekab Sadeki. The honor will be given by Professor Celia Shahnaz ma'am, Women in Engineering Chair, IEEE Bangladesh section. The next honor will be given by Shahidul Islam Khan sir. Two great personalities actually. Shahidul Islam Khan sir will honor our guest Selima Ahmed ma'am from Bangladesh Women Chamber. Then I will be requesting Dr. Shamim Kasa sir, Chair Student Activities of IEEE Bangladesh section, also an Associate Professor in Jamnagar University, to honor Anamika Bhakto ma'am, Vice President Rabia Jiata. Now I will be requesting our sir actually who is actually working very hard to move this organization in this country. Dr. Sheikh Anwarul Fattah sir, Chair IEEE Bangladesh section, to honor Maruf Ahmed sir from Bangladesh. This honor will be done by Dr. Shamim Kausa sir, Chair IEEE Student Activities, IEEE Bangladesh section. He actually did a great job on a short notice. So we will be now having some pictures with speakers, panelists, and first IEEE Bangladesh section ex-com members, then adding with the participants. We are requesting the panelists, if they don't have any other work, they can stay and take part in the participant round.